Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Golden Globe Show. Welcome to this lovely episode of Extra Time where we're going to discuss the three matches we went in when we were visiting in England in the 3 days that we were there. So going to three matches in 3 days, it was spectacular. It was bloody gorgeous. There were some ups, there were some downs, there were some spin arounds, there were some headstands. There was no headstands, but I could have headstand because I am a gymnast. I am here visiting from the Republic of. I'm gonna stop waffling. But everybody, welcome watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok because we're cringe, and YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, all of that fun stuff. But yes, let me first introduce the current guest of the show, who did go with me to the UK last year to see these three lovely matches. How are you, typical German guy?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, host?
I am doing. Stop asking me how I'm doing, but I'm doing all right. Just play some footy in the cold 40-degree weather, or for you other people over there, that sounds a little sus. For you non-Fahrenheit people, it is solid 15 degrees Celsius. So yeah, a little bit chilly, little bit lovely. Okay, well, here we're going to discuss the three matches we went to. So we first went for one match. It was the Crystal Palace versus, on I believe it was October 26th. We'll find out in a second. But it was Crystal Palace versus Tottenham. Second match on a Saturday. It was West Ham United versus Everton. And then the next match on a Sunday was Chelsea FC versus Brentford. Ooh, a lot of these matches were very interesting, fun, disappointing. I can say this. But yes, let's first get into the first match. And for all these matches, we're going to give a score of basically the stadium, what we thought about the stadium, about the atmosphere, what we thought about the atmosphere, and then just all in general, a score out of 10, what we rate our experience in that specific stadium, and just the match in general. So yes, the first match we went to was indeed Crystal Palace versus Tottenham, which was on October 27th. On 2023, and yes, Crystal Palace was home facing Tottenham, and the game ended 1-2 for Tottenham. But yes, it was Joel Ward who scored an own goal in the 53rd minute, and then Sung Yoon-min who scored a 66th minute goal. Great goal for him. And then finally a nice little goal for Jordan Ayew in the last little bits of the match, scoring in the 94th minute. And yeah, at least it was a nice little goal to fire up the Crystal Palace fans. So yeah. So first one we can talk about is the stadium. The stadium was nice in my, I guess, point of view. It was a nice stadium. It was cozy. I might want to say it was cozy. The seats where we were sitting is, if I can point with my mouse right here, I believe it was somewhere right here. And yeah, it was right next to the analyst box. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I mean, the atmosphere before the crowd, I mean, they had that whole American thing with all the cheerleaders there. That was kind of weird. Didn't expect to see that at my first Premier League match. So that was interesting. And yeah, I mean, pitch looked beautiful as well. It's a Premier League stadium. All you're going to get is nice pitches, though. Anywhere around South London, it's all right. It's a bit sketchy, but it's not as bad as other places you might go to in the States. So it was all right. But yeah, typical German guy, you got anything you want to say about what's your view on the stadium? When you first walked in around the stadium, in the stadium, what was your thoughts?
Honestly, I like the fact that it's an older style venue. It's very cozy, like you mentioned. You're right up on the pitch. You're right up next to everybody else around you. But I feel like that gives it a better atmosphere than some of the bigger grounds because you can only fit a certain number of spectators in there. And my goodness, was it loud!
Hmm.
That was definitely by far one of the loudest matches I've ever been in. Like I said, just because of how small and how compact the stadium is. But as you also mentioned, South London, was a little bit sketchy. I mean, if you go there for a match and you're with the big crowds, not a big deal. But would definitely not recommend walking around there at night by yourself. So
We almost did get caught on the line, on the tube, back to central London. So yeah, that was very fun. But yeah, that was the stadium. Let's go on to talk about a little bit the atmosphere. So yes, as typical German guy was saying, atmosphere was banging on. I mean, you got kids, you got adults, you got everybody singing for the Crystal Palace fans. I loved all the chants they had. They were actually not just typical, English chants that you think of, rude, calling the ref wanker. I mean, we did get that, of course, which was amazing. So Palace fans, at least they said about the Tottenham fans. I believe what was that one chant from the Tottenham against Tottenham is something like shoot is like what do you think of Tottenham? Shit, what do you think of shit Tottenham? Thank you, that's all right. We're Tottenham. That was a pretty fun to hear that in actual real life. But yeah, it was Crystal Palace fans had their own chants for each of the players. And in general, I thought it was pretty nice. And then I guess to switch over to Tottenham fans, they were loud. They were definitely loud. We did know that they were there. They had their chants as well too. I mean, not a complete Tottenham fan. That would be horrendous if I was, but they were there. They were chanting the whole time and definitely loud when the team scored. So, yeah. What about you, Mr. Tim Wizard guy? Anything you want to say about the atmosphere?
I think the most interesting part for me was it didn't matter when even when Crystal Palace was down. I mean, for a while, once Tottenham had that 2 goal advantage, everything seemed to get a little bit quiet. But even though it was the 94th minute and there was probably no chance of Palace pulling it back at that point, by the time IU scored, I mean that place exploded.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen so much beer flying around the place. And
Yeah.
again, they were losing, which was the funny part.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I really appreciated the fact that you're in a stadium where you're surrounded by everything like you mentioned from the schoolboy that just finished his homework all the way up to retirees that have probably been attending matches for decades, and it's cool to see the different perspectives and hear them talking about the players and things they're passionate about. And I think one thing I really like too that you didn't mention was before the game or before the match that there's that little area outside the stadium with like music and all kinds of little bar food places and things like that. I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's not
True.
something we really experienced in any of the other places. So
True.
props to Palace. I mean, they're not contending for the Champions League anytime soon, but there's a lot of tradition there that you have to admire.
Yep. Very true. They might be doing shaky this season, but I can only say like the fan festery and they had around and the fan shop as well too. It was cozy. Just like in general, it's cozy. So that's all I can say. And one thing I guess I want to ask you for this experience: who do you think was the best player on the field when you were watching this match?
Hmm. Honestly, I think the player I was most impressed with was Madison.
Madison? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Madison's close control in real life was, especially during the warm-ups, was just insane. I it's funny, you never really think of an English player as having such technical ability and quick feet, but it was impressive to watch, especially because you watched him at Leicester, and I don't feel like you really got to see the full extent of that. I don't maybe he
Yeah.
wasn't exuding as much confidence as he is now, but he was controlling the midfield pretty well that game. I mean, yeah, he didn't have a goal, he didn't have an assist, but sometimes the player that has the greatest impact doesn't get on the stat sheet. So
Very true. For me, I'm gonna say a new name to them, Van de Ven, who is the Dutch
mm.
defender who is just quick. I remember when he was on the back line just running. I'm like, holy shit, why is he so fast for a lanky man? So yeah, that was one of the ones. And I don't know, I believe Olise was out injured at the moment, but I think Eze did play. I think, or were they both out?
No,
I remember.
I think they were both out because
Okay,
I know what's his name
was Mateta in?
Mateta was in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Mateta was in, and then yeah, I think Eze and Olise were both out. Pretty sure,
Okay, fair
which
enough.
is unfortunate. But
Yeah, yeah, the ones, two people we wanted to see there for them, but yeah, fair enough. All right, well, that was indeed the stadium and atmosphere for Crystal Palace versus Tottenham, and there is a fight. What would you say your rank for Crystal Palace versus Tottenham in your experience for this one out of 10? I know it's hard. Um,
oh,
I will say for myself, for my first Premier League match, and this is biased, I guess, I would give it a good 7. I'd give it a 7. I don't want to go 8, but I give it a 7. That's just me though. That's just me though.
yeah, I mean, I think I'd have to go 7 only because I felt like because it was so early in the season that
Yeah,
maybe there was a little bit of quality and cohesiveness lacking between the two squads.
yeah,
Because I feel like if we had seen the Tottenham of a month later playing Crystal at in the same situation, I feel like Tottenham would have absolutely trashed them because
Yes.
the Tottenham in the first half of that season under Postecoglou was just maniacal. I mean, just they wouldn't stop running, they wouldn't stop scoring, they wouldn't stop pressing teams, and then they just for whatever reason disappeared the second half of the season. But
True.
yeah, 7 out of 10 feels appropriate.
Yeah, it does. And I liked as well too how you could like get close. I know they were having interviews with I think it was Gary Lineker and Robbie Lowe or Rebecca Lowe and Ange Postecoglou was giving, interview over there as well too. You could go like very close to that as well too and like just see them. So that was kind of interesting where I'm sure like in other places there'd be like guards, just like you'd be far away right? Because your section of the stadium you're allowed to, go at least around more. So
I was about to say we got to see. I think it was Keen and Neville, right, doing their
yeah.
usual little
Oh,
talk before the
Keenan,
game.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty. I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, because those are two legends of the game right there. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, well yeah, that was Crystal Palace's Tottenham, and yeah, great game, 7 out of 10 honestly for first Premier League match. Not bad, not bad. All right, next match we went to was indeed Chelsea versus Brentford. This was a match that was good. It was to forget honestly, but being a slight Chelsea fan, it was all right. But yes, it was Chelsea versus Brentford on October 28th. I believe this was on a Saturday, and it was 2-0 for Brentford. This was a London derby with at Stamford Bridge, and yes, Brentford scored in the 56th minute with Ethan Pinnock, and then as well in the 96th minute, last bit of the game, Brian Mbomo, who's actually doing amazing this season, scoring in like less than a minute. So a shout out to him. But yeah, Brentford did take the counterattacks against Chelsea. I just remember that like Chelsea would have possession, but then Brentford would come with the counterattack and score against Chelsea's defense that was very lackluster that season. Oh my gosh! But hey, Cole Palmer was there, so that was interesting to see him do decent. And the only thing I remember about Chelsea was Noni Madueke's effort from like a decent away from. It was like I believe like 3 yards out from the box, and he almost like scored, but he hit the crossbar. That's all I really remember. So yeah, great stuff about the match. So yeah, going to the stadium, Stamford Bridge, beautiful place. Honestly, lovely stadium. Walked in, was in awe. I've seen the stadium before, walked in before, but it's every time you walk in, it's like wow, it's a Stamford Bridge. There's been historical moments here, and the area around it's. I mean, it's central London. It's very nice, pretty bougie as well too. Fan shop was huge as well too. Pitch was immaculate as well too. Couldn't really go around in the stadium. I mean, besides going to like the food courts and stuff like that, it was all right. And we did pay, I believe, maybe £110 for this match, so it wasn't, cheap, definitely. Compared to, I believe, Crystal Palace, that was £75, which is normally in it. And we were like very up, like we were up right here if you're seeing on the screen, just like towards the back. And yeah, it was decent stadium. All right, typical German guy. You got anything you want to say about Stamford Bridge? I know you hated being there since you are a Bayern fan. It was basically like a mermaid man and barnacle boy on top of the sea, or a fish on the land. I don't know what the hell I'm saying.
yeah, I'm not really sure why, but the entire time I'm sitting there, I just kept hearing the word Drogba in the back of my head.
That
But
wasn't me.
but in all seriousness, I have to say, it's a beautiful venue. I think, like you mentioned, the pitch is absolute class. The amenities around the stadium are class as well.
Yep.
I think for me, the only disappointment I have overall was
If you
the
want to talk
inside.
about atmosphere, just wait till the next one.
I feel like overall, stadium wise though, that the only thing that I felt kind of bothered by was because, and it's pretty clear that Bowley's had quite a bit of American influence on the club because the entire inside of the stadium felt very American football like. I don't know why. So
I mean,
that's the only thing that made me a little bit. I don't want to say uncomfortable, but it kind of took away a little bit from the experience compared to say Palace, where everything was clearly very.
yo, but Palace had like the American cheerleaders and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Palace also had actual like the whole little sketchy little meat pie counter and everything else. Like it just felt more.
I wish I got a meat pie, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm
no, it just
disappointed.
I guess it just felt more authentic to me. Chelsea was very cool in the sense it was very modernized, but I feel like because it's such a large venue, the team at the time was not playing particularly well,
No.
and because of the fact that it's a little bit more, like you mentioned, affluent, it takes away a little bit from everything. It doesn't give it as much of a local down to earth feel for football. So
No. Okay. Yep. Well, that was the stadium. Going on to now the atmosphere. Ah, Chelsea, mate. Oh my God. I mean, it was a season that was the 2023 season. It was tough with the Chelsea fans. It was rebuilding, definitely. I believe Pochettino was the coach at this moment, and he only did good at towards the end of the season. But during the beginning or the half of the season, the first half of the season, Chelsea were in trenches. The fans weren't chilling with anything. I mean, I barely heard any chants as well too. Even like the blue supporters, like the main blue supporters, like you heard like the typical Chelsea, 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 Chelsea. That's about it, and it only lasted for a minute, which is the casual thing. But still, I go to a pub over here in Chicago that has Chelsea chants that were much 100 times more lively than going to the actual match in general, and I heard no chants. Only the chants I actually held was Chelsea, Chelsea. But during the going to the pub over there that I go to, that's actually a main Chelsea pub. I hear all sorts of chants about every player, past player, present player. So very sad. Brentford. It is Brentford, and they are known to be kind of a little stuck up of a club because very rich of a club since it is in central London as well too, similar to Chelsea. But fans were cheering more than Chelsea, which is something I never thought. I never thought I'd ever hear Brentford fans cheering more than Chelsea. So hey, fair dues to them, and that's all I really got to say about it because I don't know much about Brentford. Their stadium is very close as well too. But yes, that's all I can say. All right, your turn, typical German guy. Rip them apart. I know you got something to say.
I mean, that's particular. I actually really like the Brentford fans. I know
No,
maybe
no,
other.
no. I'm talking about Chelsea fans.
Oh, I know, but I'm starting with the Brentford fans first because
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah. Go
actually
ahead.
they actually made noise and supported their club like you're supposed to.
Away too.
Yeah, it was. I have to say, Brentford fans were incredibly loud that match. I don't think I heard one other, like you mentioned, other than the Chelsea chants at the very beginning of the match prior to kickoff, and then maybe a little bit afterwards. They were dead quiet, even though like you mentioned, it was still 0-0 for more than half the match. So I don't know if Chelsea fans by that time in October/November were already that underwhelmed with their club's performance that
Yes.
they didn't feel the need to be supportive. But I think for me, the most interesting part of the atmosphere was compared to say Palace, where everybody was so invested in the match. There was a lot of people just not paying attention.
Yep.
You know, you had some old heads here and there that's they clearly been going there for a while, and this was their Saturday or Sunday pastime. But a lot of people there didn't seem like they really cared that much, which is a little bit sad.
I mean, there was a lot of tourists as well too.
Well,
So,
exactly. And one of the thing too is as well is, I mean, if we're being frank, the talent on the field just wasn't there. There were so many major injuries of different players that maybe could have made a difference in the game, brought a little more flair and spark that could have stimulated the crowd to do something. But that's football, right? And Chelsea, I mean, Chelsea's certainly a different animal this season, but we'll have to see how that progresses. So
yep, very true. But yeah. But yeah, okay. Who is your, I guess, the player that stood out to you the most during this match? I know it's hard.
players stood out to me the most. You know, hmm. Honestly, I feel like it was Mbuno. Is that how you pronounce his name, Mbuno?
Mbeumo.
Mbuemo. Yeah, no. That it was funny because last season, I never really watched him play that much because obviously I'm not a Brentford fan. But watching him that match, you could just tell that there was something different about him as a player in terms of his technical quality. It was
Yep.
clearly there. Maybe he just needed the consistency, and like you mentioned, we're definitely starting to see it this season. He's coming out of his shell a little bit. And I'm not saying he's going to be a 20 goal a year striker or
Nope.
anything, but he's definitely a threat for Brentford when he gets in front of goal, and especially if he gets in front of goal early. I mean, he scored I think at least 2 goals this season in the first 2 minutes or less. So,
Hmm?
and both of them have been pretty damn good goals. I mean, one of them was a left-footed volley that, although it was a little bit sliced, still went in the top corner. So,
Very true. For me, I'm gonna say either Noni Madueke or Mbeumo as well too. Yeah, I mean, I liked watching Noni Madueke. His skill capability was amazing. He almost scored a beauty of a goal, but beauty of a goal, it doesn't count when you actually score. So, you know, Cole Palmer was there as well too, which was interesting to see him. I mean, you saw glimpses of it, but you didn't see that he was meshed with the whole.
right. I was about to say Palmer. The funny thing is, until you mentioned that Palmer was there, I forgot he played that match because that's how
Yep.
non-existent his presence was the entire time.
Also, Iliman Indai was there too. Who's this one kid right here who's actually was pretty good Ivorian. So okay, going on to rankings. Ooh, I'm gonna say you want to go first? I'll let you go first, and we can round it up.
Truthfully speaking,
Yep.
I'd have to say 4 out of 10.
Okay, 4 out of 10. Wow. Okay, I expected lower from you.
I mean, it wasn't such a bad match that I would give it an extremely low rating, like is it as if I was going to an FC Dallas match or something. But
Okay, okay. No, 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 no.
but definitely not worth a 5. But still, I mean, still good football. So 4. I feel like a 4 is appropriate.
Yep, very true. I'm gonna. I was gonna say 3 actually, which is tough saying for a Chelsea fan, but I will round up to a 4. Honestly, that's my fair comparison. So, yes, 4 out of 10 for Chelsea versus Brentford, and sorry, Chelsea. All right, on to the next match, was indeed in another London stadium. We went to all London stadiums, which is West Ham versus Everton, which is indeed on uh it was when was this? This was on the Sunday. Yeah, this was the last match. And this wasn't a sorry. This wasn't a match that we were actually wanting we're supposed to see. We were just supposed to see Chelsea and Crystal Palace. But we looked at the tickets the night before actually, and so hey, they're about how much pounds? £60. Why not? Why? There's nothing wrong with that. And you could get any seat you wanted in the city for £60, which was amazing. I loved it. And like, I know typical German guy was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. Why not? And was definitely worth it. Honestly, definitely worth it. So, yep, was on October 29, 2023. West Ham and Everton. It was 0-1 for Everton, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring in the 51st minute. And yeah, it was a pretty feisty game, which I indeed did love. I mean, you always get feisty games when it comes to Everton. They love to shit house, so I absolutely love that. So, yep, the stadium. We can talk about that first. And the stadium was nice. I mean, it is the London Stadium. It's not West Ham's main stadium, but I mean, now it's their main stadium, but it's a beautiful stadium used for the Olympics firstly, and now it's West Ham Stadium. So yeah, London Stadium. It was, I mean, it was beautiful. I can't really say anything. I mean, the area around it was decent as well too. You got the Abba House over there, which was so funny, and some nice amenities near. I mean, there wasn't a fan fest or anything compared to Palaces, but it was still nice. It felt nice, and then when you went inside, just seeing the stadium in general was like, wow, I didn't expect this. It looks beautiful. It's you have all the lights that you usually see in matches where like the triangles that are around that have the lights, and that was just like really cool to see, and all the lights on as well. We did go in a shitty time with London weather. Surprise, surprise, it was shitty weather, but it kept us covered. I mean, the stadium kept it covered, so yeah, it was nice. All right, typical General guy. Anything you want to say about the London Stadium?
I have to say, I was genuinely surprised how close we were to the players and the benches and everything.
Yeah, because we got like second row, I think, right? Something like that.
It was like, yeah, second or third row, and I mean, I don't think I would have never in a million years thought, okay, these guys I've been watching on television for the last 5, 6 years are going to be right in front of me, and I mean literally right in front of me. But I feel like you gain a whole different appreciation for their fitness level, for their technique by being that close because you see just how fast the ball zips, how quickly they hit it to each other.
Especially if it's
But
raining.
right, exactly. But at the same time, how under control they are with everything. And also, not only that, but oh my gosh, it is so much fun to be able to hear the players talk shit to each other, and
Oh,
same with the as well, because
yeah.
you can basically hear everything they're saying for the most
Yep.
part.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I think Sean Dyche must have dropped at least like 6 or 7 f bombs in like a two
Of
minute period.
course. Of course. It is Sean Dice. Of course.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was kind of it was well, it was also funny too to see Moyes so close after making fun of him for so many years at United. So
yep. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, it was a great time, honestly, and I'm very glad to have got that ticket right before. So, but yeah, going on to the atmosphere of this. So, West Ham fans, I mean, the beginning, your forever brewing bubbles, the walkout Hampton was just amazing. I mean, goosebumps, if I might add as well too. So, during the match, I don't know if it was. I mean, there was chance, but it wasn't compared to Crystal Palace's chance. But it was still chance. It was still West Ham, doing the normal chance they had. And yeah, I thought it was a great crowd, and everybody turned out as well too. I believe it was decently packed. I wouldn't say completely packed, but it was decently packed. Everton supporters, I mean, no surprises. They are there cheering their team on. They're Everton fans. They are ride or die. Those big burly men that are shirtless always, that have tattoos across their chests that say Everton. And yeah, no surprises from them. So Everton fans as well too. Good job for them. They did great. And no surprise. So yeah. What about you, typical German guy? Anything about the fans you have to say?
I have to say, given the size of the stadium, it feels very small in some ways because everybody's just so loud and singing pretty much the entire match. Particularly like you mentioned in the beginning with their anthem and everything. And man, Everton fans were out in force that day. I mean, we might have been in London, but still, they had all come down. It felt
Felt
like,
like
and
we
they
were in
were
Liverpool.
right. I mean, they were being rowdy the entire match. They were being rowdy after the match. In fact, I think the funniest thing after the match was walking out and all the Everton fans are getting together and they're still just chanting away. And that's just not something you see in uh in the football games here in the States. So it's a cool thing to experience. And you know, Everton may not be the best club on the planet, but I mean, you can't doubt that their supporters are passionate about them. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. What is your favorite player? I know we're probably gonna have the same answer to this because we talked about this many
oh,
times.
that I was about to say that's gonna be an
Who's your
easy one.
favorite player of the West Ham versus Everton match?
Oh, kudos all day long.
Mohamed Kudus. Yep.
I just when we saw in that match, you just had a feeling that he was just gonna keep getting better because I mean, yeah, he had said some really dumb things about how, he was better than Ronaldo or Messi or something, some crazy statement like that. I mean, he don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but he's not that level. But
No.
seeing him live and seeing how much quality he has on the ball, I mean, he's definitely a good player. And one thing I do want to say too, if I had to choose a player I was most disappointed in, it was Paqueta.
Yeah.
I expected Paqueta to be so much more dynamic on the ball, but he just seems so slow that game. I don't know if he
Slow.
was
Yep.
nursing a knock or what, but he just did not look very good.
Yep. Agreed with you. Yeah, I'm gonna say Mohamed Kudus as well too. And he's probably gonna get a move, I'm gonna guess, in the next couple of years. I'm not surprised. If he doesn't, then I'm gonna be very surprised. So all right, well, yeah, I thought for the ticket that we paid for the £60, it was amazing. So on to the West Ham versus Everton rating. What are you gonna say for this one? I know the walk on anthem forever has something in your heart. So, and West Ham is your favorite Premier League team. So,
Well, disclaimer here, I'd like to go out and say that I have no favorite Premier League team. I
hmm
cannot betray my beloved Bayern,
hmm
but West Ham does have a special spot in my heart because I did enjoy the match.
okay,
So I feel like I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Oh, that is mad. Wow. Okay.
And the reason I say that is because it was a good, fast flowing, close match. The fans were both on each other's backs the entire time.
Yep.
And like I mentioned earlier, despite the stadium being so expensive, it didn't really feel that big. It kind of felt like a small town atmosphere in some ways. And I was overall really impressed with how everything was managed and how quickly we got into the venue and
Yeah.
how easy it was to find things and what's not. And not only that, but honestly, one thing I feel like adds to my rating, the staff at West Ham's facilities were so nice.
Yeah, they asked to take a picture of us, so we did. Yeah,
Yeah, and what was funny too is like we didn't even ask them. They just saw us over there and like immediately said, "Oh, we'll go help them take their photo and everything." So, and
very true.
and I think too. I mean, West Ham, although they're a bigger club and everything, is clearly intent on not only keeping their fans happy but gaining new fans because I mean, like you mentioned, you couldn't beat the price.
No,
Um,
and especially getting the day right before. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yeah.
the day before, second, third row and a pretty big match like that was pretty cool. So, now, like I said, 9 out of 10 is where I would go with for them. So,
All right, fair enough. Yeah, and yeah, I'm gonna say I wanted to say seven because I mean I haven't been to many European football matches in my life, so I can't really dictate to what's like a 9 out of 10. That's possibly gonna. You never know. When we go to Netherlands to see the PSV and Ajax, that could be something, but you
oh,
never know.
that game is going to be absolutely nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
We like
Okay,
we're probably gonna act. We're gonna probably get caught in a riot or something.
good. I hope so. I'm gonna say a 7 out of 10, so we can meet in the middle and say an 8 out of 10 for this one. So I think that's fair enough. So yeah, West Ham versus Everton, I guess, is the best. Okay, so I guess one thing to ask about all this, I mean, according to our rankings, we thought West Ham versus Everton was the best match and best venue and all that. But I guess we can just vote really fast. What was your favorite stadium we went to?
I have to say, overall,
Hmm.
I really, I don't know why. I just have this this bias towards Crystal Palace's venue.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like sometimes with the big modern venues, I mean, it can be a really great atmosphere, but you just lose that down to earth and local kind of feel. But
No, no, no. I'm
Palace,
just talking. I'm just talking about like the favorite stadium. We'll talk about atmosphere in a second.
oh, stadium wise,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. Oh, okay. Well, if we're talking purely about stadium, I mean, I feel like that's West Ham. Like West Ham Stadium was just beautiful. I mean, it's truly a work of art. So.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna say Stamford Bridge. Kind of biased, but it was always lovely to see the bridge, and it's a iconic place, and I have to say the bridge. All right, atmosphere for you. Who do you think had the best atmosphere?
Oh, Palace by far.
Okay, yeah, I'm
They
gonna say
they were
Palace as well.
nuts. No, those fans were nuts, but the kind of nuts that you want in a football fan.
Yes,
I
very true.
mean,
We heard a
oh,
lot of wankers. We heard a lot of your shit. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm telling you, I mean, I've never seen a group of fans, despite their team losing after scoring, be so happy and so rowdy. They act like they had won the World Cup or something, and they weren't even gonna get 3 points.
very true. Okay, and then last but not least, what do you think was the best match,
Best match, honestly,
like football quality wise?
I feel like it was Everton West Ham
Okay, yeah,
because I feel like the Chelsea match, Brentford kind of wasn't really playing that well and kind of got lucky on two fast breakaways, and the Palace game too was a little bit slow and a little bit disjointed.
yeah,
But
agreed.
the Everton West Ham match was everything you expect in English football. I mean, it was quick, it was technical, and it was close. So
And scrappy. Gotta have scrappy. Last but not least, I know we can probably both say who's the favorite player that you saw at these venues, these three venues, your favorite player that you watched? Hey,
definitely. I
really?
mean,
Okay.
I feel like Kudus definitely has to be up there because I mean, out of all the players he watched, he was the one that just he always seemed to be up to something.
Yeah.
It's like every time he got the ball, like you were just waiting for him to do something nuts. Like
And
whether it
he was
was
so strong for his size. Wow. I remember
yeah,
that. He's
he was fast too, and his control is immaculate as well.
yeah,
I feel like the other player I was most impressed with is the one that you also mentioned earlier, Van de Ven.
Van de Ven,
I,
yep, yep.
I don't. It doesn't make any sense. A guy that big, that lanky, but he's so fast. It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
Fastest player in the Premier League. I might say that as well too. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
I feel like honestly, I feel like between this season and last, he got faster.
Maybe it's all the Dutch pies he eats. I don't know. No idea. Okay. Well, yes, everybody. That was indeed the Golden Goal Show for reviewing the three Premier League matches we went to in 3 days. I can't wait to make the thumbnail. I already made the thumbnail. It's amazing. Maybe clickbaity. Maybe it's great. It's actual. So yeah. Well, yeah. Wilhelm, typical German guy, anything you want to say about this besides can't wait for the next video that we'll make about the Ajax versus PSV in Johan Cruyff Arena?
You mean Johan Cruyff?
Cruyff. My bad.
Cruyff.
Cruyff.
Never mind.
Yes.
Anyway, but I'm just, I'm telling you, European football is just on a different level in terms of the passion, the quality of every player on the pitch, whether it's somebody on the bench or somebody who's a seasoned veteran, and just the fans is it's just a different level, and especially in England.
Yep.
And you really see why it's considered one of the top flight, if not the top flight league on the planet, because every team is competing. I mean, they may not necessarily get Champions League spots, they may not win the cup, they may not win the league, but this is not something you see in other leagues.
Yep.
So
Very true.
it was exciting to witness, great to see, and I'm hoping to see the Netherlands, and Ajax hopefully pull off a win. That'd be cool.
You never know.
Well, I mean, it was my grandfather's favorite club, but as everybody probably knows already, Ajax last season was
Shaky.
special.
Very
Special.
special. Yes, very special. Okay. Well, yes, everybody. That was indeed the lovely show. Thank you all for watching on YouTube, Spotify, music, everything you want to say. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because without sharing, how else are you going to know that Crystal Palace cheerleaders, what the hell is even that? It's Americanized. It's, I mean, cool. They have jobs. Very proud of it. I'm going to stop because, hey, they did a great job. Fired up this team. Go team. Very good. I want to meet pie. That sounds wrong. Well, yes. Everybody, thank you for watching the show. Typical German guy, thank you for being here as well, too. Talk about your experience. Very fun. Yes. Yes. Hello.
I was
Yes.
just waiting.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, mate. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching the show. And yeah, we will come out with another episode that's typical episode about the top 5 leagues next week. So that'll be great. Good times. But this was just a nice little episode talking about our experiences. So yeah. But everybody, as we say on the show, in 3, 2, 1, 1, love football. Thank you guys for watching, and bye-bye. Fantastic. Where's the stop?